Hey everyone, and welcome back to another explainer. Today we're going to tackle something that can honestly look a little intimidating at first glance, the complex math of engineering systems. We're going to take what look like totally chaotic, unpredictable black boxes and break them down using some very clear visual rules. By the time we finish up here, you're going to see exactly how engineers manage to transform absolute chaos into total predictability. Let's get into it. But to get us started, I want you to think about this for a second. What do a physical, swinging pendulum and a purely abstract mathematical equation actually have in common? I know, it kind of sounds like a trick question, right? But I promise you, by the end of this explainer, the underlying rules that govern both of them are going to be crystal clear. Okay, let's look at our roadmap real quick. We're starting with signals in general systems, then connecting systems and feedback. Third, we'll test system properties. Fourth, we'll look at real-world stability. And finally, we'll wrap up with the LTI system advantage. All right, diving right into Section 1, Signals and General Systems. We really have to lay the groundwork here. So before we can build any of these complex models, we've got to establish our absolute foundational building blocks. And our very first building block is the unit step. I want you to imagine literally just flipping a light switch. For all negative values of time, the signal is 0. The switch is off. For all positive values, the signal is 1. The switch is on. Now, this is incredibly straightforward in discrete time. But in continuous time, well, this creates a pretty tricky mathematical discontinuity exactly at time 0, because it instantly jumps from 0 to 1. Which brings us to our second building block, the unit impulse. This is simply the derivative of that unit step we just talked about. And because of that instant jump from 0 to 1, the unit impulse has literally 0 width, an infinite height, and a total area of exactly 1. In fact, in the MIT source material we're looking at, Professor Sam Matson famously joked that the unit impulse is something so small everywhere that you can't even see it, except at one point where it's so big you still can't see it. I really want you to bookmark this thought in your mind right now, because this tiny impulse, it's going to become our ultimate, most powerful tool a little later on. Moving on to Section 2, let's see what happens when they actually start wiring these systems together. Imagine a cascade or series interconnection. It's pretty simple. The input goes into System 1, and the output of that system immediately becomes the input of System 2. But, and this is a massive but, here is the critical rule for general, everyday systems. The order of these steps drastically changes your final output. It's just like a math operation. If System 1 squares a number and System 2 doubles it, well, squaring then doubling gives you a completely different result than doubling then squaring. Order absolutely matters. All right. Section 3, Testing System Properties. It's time for a little virtual lab experiment. Our first test here is defining memory. Now, what's really interesting about this is how literal it is. A system is memoryless if its output relies strictly on the exact present moment. A squares is a perfect example of this. It literally only cares about the number you hand it right this second. In contrast, an integrator is a system with memory. To actually generate an output, an integrator has to accumulate the past history of the input over time. It has to remember. And this brings us right to invertibility. Basically, if you have the output, can you uniquely work your way backward to find the input? For an integrator, yes, you can. It's completely invertible, and its inverse is simply a differentiator. But what about our square? Think about it. If I tell you the output is 25, you actually have no idea if the original input was positive 5 or negative 5. Because that original sign is lost forever, the square is strictly not invertible. Next up, we test for causality, and we'll use a moving average system to show this. Basically, a system is causal if it cannot anticipate the future. If computing the output at this exact millisecond requires an input value from the future, well, it fails the test. A causal system only responds when it gets kicked, so to speak. Its output depends solely on current and past inputs, never, ever the future. Test number 4 is time invariance. Basically, does the system care what you call the origin of time? If you take an accumulator system and delay the input by 3 seconds, the output just delays by 3 seconds. It is perfectly predictable, so it's time invariant. But if you shift the input into a modulator, you completely change how it interacts with the underlying modulation function. So that one is definitively not time invariant. And our final lab test is linearity. I want you to check out that middle row. 2x plus a constant. Your brain instantly tells you, oh, that's the equation for a straight line. But mathematically, because of that added constant, it actually fails the strict test for linearity. It's only what engineers call incrementally linear. So looks can definitely be deceiving here. Okay, Section 4. Real-world stability. Let's talk about the pendulum.
Let's transition out of the abstract math for a second and into tangible physics so we can really test stability. In engineering, we look for bounded input, bounded output, or BIBO stability. This essentially guarantees that if your input stays within finite safe limits, the system isn't going to spiral totally out of control and output infinity. Remember our integrator system from earlier? If you feed a flat, bounded step signal into an integrator, the output turns into a ramp that climbs higher and higher forever, straight to infinity. So an integrator, completely unstable.
And this brilliantly illustrates how stability works in physical space. Think of a regular, hanging pendulum. If you give it a slight, bounded push, it just swings nicely within a bounded arc. It's totally stable. Now flip that exact same pendulum upside down, an inverted pendulum balancing on a point. If you give it that exact same slight, bounded push, gravity takes over and it accelerates wildly downward. The output is entirely unbounded. It is highly unstable. So how in the world do engineers fix an inherently unstable system like that? The answer is feedback. Feedback literally takes the output of a system and routes it right back around to the input. Think about it. If you've ever balanced a stick on the palm of your hand, you've used feedback. Your eye sees the stick falling, that's the output, and it sends that visual feedback to your hand, the input, to move and stabilize it. Feedback interconnections are basically the engineer's secret weapon to tame completely unstable systems. Which brings us to Section 5, the grand finale, the LTI system advantage, linear time invariant.
Everything we've discussed today funnels down to this one grand conclusion. When a system possesses both linearity and time invariance, meaning it's an LTI system, all those messy rules of general black boxes we talked about earlier, they simply disappear. Remember when we said cascade order matters? Not anymore. With LTI systems, you can connect them in literally any cascade order and get the exact same outcome every single time. They become remarkably, wonderfully predictable.
To quickly summarize the massive amount of lab testing we just did, let's look at the scorecard for these three systems. The square is memoryless, sure, but it fails invertibility and linearity. Meanwhile, the accumulator and integrator both require memory, but they are invertible and strictly linear. By cataloging systems like this, engineers know exactly which mathematical tools they are allowed to pull out of their toolbox to use on them.
So the crucial point is perfectly captured by our source material right here. With systems that are linear and time invariant, the use of the impulse function provides an extraordinarily important mechanism. Let's call all the way back to the very beginning of this explainer, the unit impulse. Remember that incredibly tiny, infinitely tall spike? Because an LTI system is completely linear and independent of time shifts, if you fire just one single unit impulse into it and record the response, you mathematically know everything you will ever need to know about how that system will react to any signal, from now until the end of time. It's honestly a real-life superpower.
We've taken completely chaotic signals and applied strict properties to make them entirely predictable. So now that you know the rules of linearity, time invariance, and feedback, where do you see these kinds of systems hiding in your daily life? Thank you so much to all you focused learners for joining this explainer today. Keep looking at the world around you through this highly predictable lens, and as always, keep exploring.